What's up guys, welcome back to Smplbuilds. You guys are always asking me the question, what kind of mods should I do to my car? I want to do a budget build for my own car. So this video is going to be the answer to that question. This is the top 5 budget modifications that you can do to any car. So we're going to jump right into it. Number 1 is a front lip. In my opinion, a front lip adds a huge difference to the front of the car and the overall look of the car. It adds a lower ground appearance. I just added the front lip to the budget VIP project. I found that for $100. You can get lips for $20. You can get lips for $100 and all the way up to a few $100s. I strongly recommend Easy Lip. That is a nice, easy, known brand that they make great quality lips for your car. Adds a nice 2 to 3 inches along the bottom of the car. It's super easy to install. You can pick up a nice one for like $60. I'll have a link down in the description below where you can pick up one for yourself. I also added a front lip to the first ever giveaway build, Honda Civic. You guys might have seen that. And I think that added a huge difference. It makes a big difference to the whole all-around look of the car, and it's a super cheap mod. That is definitely number 1 in my book for the first budget modification to do to your car. Okay, number 2 is a muffler delete. So this might be a little controversial. I mean, the whole budget modification idea in general is controversial, so I don't really care. But I definitely think that adding a little bit extra sound to your car makes a huge difference. When you're driving down the road, you want to hear the noise of the engine. You don't want to hear anything too obnoxious most times, which a lot of times the muffler delete is a perfect, easy, cheap method to get a little extra noise out of the car. You literally can take a hacksaw and chop off the muffler and call it a day. I wouldn't recommend that. A lot of times you can spend a couple bucks to get an exhaust pipe welded on. You can bring it to your local exhaust shop, and most times they'll do that for, I don't know, maybe $100 to weld that piece on. You can chop it off yourself, bring it in, and they'll do it no problem. And in my opinion, and in my experience, that has been an awesome modification that adds a little extra fun to the car. It is, again, super cheap. As an automotive enthusiast, you want to hear some kind of noise coming from your car. So this is a super easy way to achieve that. Of course, you can go, expensive. You can do catbacks. You can do, full bolt-on exhaust systems from MagnaFlow or Thermal R&D. Obviously, you can always go to the extremes, but I think a great start would be the exhaust muffler chop. Just chop it right off and call it a day. The third best budget modification I think that you can do to your car is lowering springs. So lowering springs can be cheap. You can get a set for around $200 online, and they're fairly accessible. It's pretty easy to swap out, in my opinion. You just got to have the right tools, the right tool set. You can swap your car out and get it lowered on some lowering springs in an afternoon. Lowering your car, it helps the center of gravity. If you're sliding the car, if you're drifting in the car, it gives you better handling. I started out with lowering springs on my Fiesta ST before I did any kind of upgraded coilover setups. That lowered the car. It was the first time I ever lowered a vehicle on my own, and man, I was over the moon with it. I thought it looked super sick. Oh my gosh, so nice. And it did look really good. It lowered it down. The handling was definitely a little better. You obviously cannot stiffen or soften anything going on with the suspension, but it's a great beginner setup to lower your car. And I'll tell you, that was like a dream as I was a kid. I was like, man, I want a lowered vehicle when I grow up. And when I did that, I was honestly over the moon. And it was a cheap, easy modification. It took me, I think, a day to swap those out, the rears, and I brought them to a buddy to help me swap out the fronts because he had a compressor, but you can also rent the compressor tool from your local auto parts store. You can put the 2 clamps on, take the top nut off, swap the spring, put it in reverse order, and throw it back in. And you got a lower vehicle for under $250 most times. So that is a great option to lower your car. I think you cannot go wrong with lowering springs. Just make sure you use a reputable brand. I used H&R, and I had no problems with them. Definitely avoid cutting your springs. Some people will say to go that route, but 100% do not do that. It'll make your car extremely bouncy, and the handling will be absolute garbage. So do not go that route. The fourth budget modification I recommend that you guys do to your cars is wheels. Now, before you say, oh, wheels, they're not budget, they're expensive, $1,000 for a set, just start without tires. You might be right, but the wheels that I usually go with and the setups that I can find are on Facebook Marketplace. I can generally find wheels and tires installed already for a car that I'm looking for around $500. And I've had some pretty good success doing this. You might have to do a little extra work for it most times, but I found a set of wheels before tires for around $200. I needed one tire for it. I brought it to the tire shop. They installed that for me for around $100. I had a full set of wheels and tires installed, ready to go, mounted and balanced for around $350. So you guys can work a deal. You just have to scour Facebook Marketplace, look up your bolt pattern on Google, type in your year, make, and model, and then bolt pattern. If you're lucky, sometimes it'll be 5x114. That is a super common bolt pattern. You can find a plethora of wheels on Facebook Marketplace, and usually you can find a cheap set if you look hard enough and you're on there regularly. A cheap set that are already mounted and balanced with tires that have some life left on them for around $500. Wheels definitely improve the whole entire look of the vehicle. It makes a huge difference aesthetically. You can also get lighter wheels sometimes, which improves handling. So if you want to go that route and find some new wheels, and you don't want to paint the wheels, which we'll get into next, you can definitely find a good set with wheels and tires on Facebook Marketplace. And I've had success with it for multiple cars that I've done. I found some wheels for this orange Civic that I did. Those had wheels and tires for $500 off a Tesla. I found some wheels off the first budget build subscriber giveaway. Those were the ones I talked about. Those were under, I think, $400 total, and I think a couple other projects that I've done. So you can definitely have success with that, and wheels are a great budget option if you find them used. Of course, going that route, you really want to inspect the wheels in Facebook Marketplace that you find. Look for cracks, look for damage, look for any repairs, and make sure that it's a reputable brand. The fifth and final budget modification that I recommend you guys do to your cars is PLASTI dip or paint. So of course, this may be another controversial topic, but I think this is the best bang for your buck to completely transform the look of your vehicle. Honestly, this is a great route. As you guys can see, one of the first cars that I ever did on this channel was a Honda Civic. It was a white and black one, similar to the budget build giveaway that I did, but this was the very first car that started the channel. And the biggest transformation that we did was painted the wheels. They were ugly chrome, oxidized and in terrible condition, sanded them down and painted them black, and that turned out amazing. Then we went ahead and took PLASTI dip, painted the whole car, and I'm telling you guys, that transformed the vehicle 100 times over. It looked so good. I was super excited on it. There was obviously a couple of things that we did to the vehicle, but the majority of the exterior modification that we did was a PLASTI dip paint job, and I think I did that for under $400, the whole car itself. And I think I painted the wheels for maybe $100. So for $500 painting the wheels and also painting the whole entire vehicle, that is a pretty stinking good price and can completely transform the whole look of your vehicle. Obviously, this list hasn't been much of a performance modifications, but you guys can leave your recommendations down below, whatever you think. But PLASTI dip can go a super long way. You can PLASTI dip emblems, you can PLASTI dip door trims, you can really transform anything on the vehicle. And the best part about that is you can peel it off if you don't like it. But really, I think this is one of the best budget modifications that you guys can do, the best bang for your buck, the overall transformation that you guys can see with a paint job, painting your wheels, painting trims, PLASTI dipping, whatever you want to use. You can use PLASTI dip or actual paint. I have a budget paint method I used, Rust-Oleum turbo cans. That was around $70, I think. So you can get really creative with the paint and PLASTI dip on your vehicles, and it makes a huge difference. Leave in the comments anything that I may have missed. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope you got some ideas and inspiration from it, and go out there and have some fun in your cars. And if you enjoy this kind of stuff, hit that subscribe button, drop a like. I do this kind of budget modifications all the time, and I'll show it in real time on the projects that I do on this channel. Real quick before I go, new merchandise, check it out, Smplbuilds. On the back, we got the VIP budget build going down. If you can see that very well, VIP Legends, Smplbuilds. That is the new drop, and the link is in the description to check out the full new drop. Appreciate you guys.